some of the authenticity of the original surprise, because I did the actual tournament this morning, and I'm still learning how to do all the recording software and editing, so not that this requires a whole lot of editing, but in the time that's taken me to do that, I've sort of forgotten the details of the matches. Anyways, here we go. 3 mana, 2 of my colors. Whisperwood Elemental is a long way from being cast, but the fact that he's in my opening hand makes me want to keep it. Anyways, Jeskai Elder, the grandma, just doing work in this match. We're going to get her out again, making her second appearance. The Elder and the Student, 2 awesome 2-drops. So we've learned that this guy has a lot of quick, aggressive, big creatures, and then also a late game. And in the middle ground, he just throws in a Crux of Fate and just kills everything. This guy's new, the Battle Brawler. A 2/2, as long as he doesn't have a red creature out, he's not that threatening. See, right now, you could hypothetically fake an attack. I'm not going to, because they might not want to block, because if you did have an instant, you could activate Prowess. However, if they do block, you feel like a complete moron, and you put yourself in a bad situation. So, didn't attack. Got another man out there instead, so I'll be able to activate the Sultai Charm. A lot of high drops in my hand. Battle Brawler staring me down. Regardless of the outcome of this tournament, I'll post videos. I'll post 3 as though it was 3 matches, so that way it doesn't spoil the endings. So win or lose, in all my videos you can expect to see the complete matches. Here comes a 3/2 with first strike. I am not blocking that. I'd rather just find a way to kill the Goreswine and deactivate that ability. Hopefully he blocks, because I remember he's not a fan, if I can recall. He blocked with the Scout in the first game. So he blocks with the Goreswine now, which is good because it turns off his Battle Brawler. However, chances are he has multiple red creatures in his deck. Still, small victory, small victory. Let's get out the Sign of the Glaciers. I do like this creature. Looking at its stats, you think of it as more of a defensive card, but it is really malleable. You can kind of adjust it using its ability to make it whatever you want. It can be very offensive, it can be defensive. In this case, it will be fulfilling a defensive role. Bardos with your Jace picture icon, false representation of who you are. You're playing black and red. Meanwhile, I have this Theros Hydra because I don't have any interesting ones, because I don't do that many competitive things online. I do love playing recreationally. I do a lot of sealeds and the cheaper options. However, I haven't, taken the serious dive into Magic the Gathering Online. Okay, so here's an Orc Sure Shot. Not as threatening against my deck as he would be against a deck with multiple very small creatures. If I decided to attack here, quite boldly, might I add, I think I was anticipating that he might block with both, at which point I could Sultai Charm one and kill the other. He decided not to block with either, which means now that I am going to take 6 wonderful points of damage as a result of what could arguably be seen as a dumb idea. Also, so I figure I may as well power him up if I'm going to be taking such a harsh backswing for my decision. Also, I've left mana up for the Sultai Charm, because now I'm going to need to Sultai Charm that Orc Sure Shot to ensure that I don't get completely murdered by this next attack. We can only hope and pray that he has not a creature with dash as well in his hand. and I'm trying to remember if he does. If he did, I'm kind of glad that there's no audio on the original tape, because I would, or at least no audio salvage from the original video. And there it is, because I would probably be swearing. And powers down my Scion with his Orc Sure Shot, not that it matters. And now I would be taking 10 damage. I will be reducing it by 4 though with the Sultai Charm. At least I'm pretty sure. Yep. So still taking 6 on arguably a bad call. However, he won't be using a removal spell on my Scion if it's tapped. It looks far less threatening. So maybe that was my technique, just kind of like lay low with the Scion. Alright, got my 5th mana. Now, question time. Do I play the Hooting Mandrills? Do I get my Torrent Elemental out there? I could even play my Whisperwood Elemental. Or do I wait and play the Ethereal Ambush? I've decided on the Hooting Mandrills because early on in the game, even though he's putting the pressure on, earlier on in the game, your opponent is probably holding some of their best removal spells, kind of wondering when is it the best time to use it. Hooting Mandrills is a very good card, however, I have even better ones in my hand. So I'm hoping that if I get this thing out there, he will use his removal spells on it, and then leave my sacred mythic rare creatures safe from harm. Also, his clock is really winding down. He's very low. Canyon Lurkers, honestly, never quite like the card. I understand it's threatening. A 5/2 is scary, but unless you're trying to get like Ferocious, unless you're trying to trigger Ferocious, or you can't even trigger Formidable because it won't be in that drop. But yeah, never really a fan. All right, Incremental Growth, an interesting card indeed. In hindsight, I'm realizing that incremental growth is not as good as I had thought, because you put a +1/+1 counter first, and then a second, and then a third. What that means is if you only have one creature and they have no creatures, say, you would put your +1/+1 counter on your creature, and then you would have no other targets for the others because it has to be another and then another. So be careful with that. Or if they have creatures, put the smaller counters on theirs and then put the larger ones on yours. All that I'm trying to say is this card requires you to have multiple creatures out. Okay? So just be wary of that and incremental growth. It is a good card, but it can be, interesting. So here he's tapped out, so I'm not afraid to attack with the Hooting Mandrills. If he would have to block with both for something bad to happen. I played the Torrent Elemental. Put the big thing out. I'm putting it out there. He's got the kill spell. I'm in trouble, but I'm not going to win by doing nothing. With him out there, though, I am able to threaten his life total. I do have 3 big beefy creatures on the field. He's let me live too long, I guess. But he hasn't played a kill spell yet. And the fact that he's dashed at a creature probably makes me think that he has some sort of instant to make things more favorable for him. Or he's just trying to beat me because he can see that things are getting a bit too beefy on my side of the board. So he's trying to get me quick. So at this point I was figuring out that I had the win if he didn't do anything tricky. So I don't know, use your skills of discerning to figure out exactly how I had that win. I know I had the win. At around this point, I just have to make sure that things that I block intelligently, because he could have, with that 4 mana, I wasn't sure if he played his mana that turn. If he has an Arrow Storm, he could hit me for 5 damage. So I was trying to make sure I had at least 5 life left. And I also wanted to make sure that my creatures had a high chance of living. The Scion blocks the creature with First Strike because he's more likely to power up the one with First Strike in order for it to live. So if he powers the Battle Brawler, he'll kill my Scion, and my Torrent will live. Torrent Elemental being more important to me in this scenario. So I'm taking 5 damage, which is not great, but given the circumstances and given the match in general, with him, I think, at least at the beginning, looking to be the more favorable player to win, things have taken a nice turn. So he did not kill any of my creatures. He hit me for 5. Just adjusting and moving around on my seat here. I'm sitting awkwardly on my feet and they're falling asleep. Okay. Bring low. So, goodbye Torrent Elemental. Because he had taken the 2 damage, he takes another 3. That's okay though, because a Torrent Elemental is only good for tapping their creatures. If all their creatures are tapped. Oh, what an editing hack job! Oh, the sound cut out. You don't know what you're doing. It's like you're just like the first time you've done. Sorry. Yeah, that was bad. But it's because I thought I decided for a second to stop recording. What with my house cleaner lady coming in, but I decided not to. All right, incremental growth. So I figured if I put first put the +1/+1 token on his creature and put the 2 on my sign and the 3 on the Hooting Mandrills, that will give me 5 additional points of damage. Math, 5 plus the 4 of the Hooting Mandrills plus the 2 of the Scion equals 11 points total. So he's all tapped out. Even if he had the Crux of Fate in his hand that game, it didn't matter. He sends me a polite little message, and I sent him one in response. Oh, good match though, eh? And that was the first match, and we will be moving on to the second momentarily. Thanks for watching thus far. Please continue to watch and comment as we go.